Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hey folks, on Inkdependence today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of planners, because I've been asked a few times what kind of planners I've used and what I will be using for the next year. And so today we're going to talk planner plans. So at the beginning of last year, I actually got two planners. I got this one, which is the Hobonichi Techo, and then I got this one, which is the Kokuyo Jibun Techo. And I've been using them both over the last year, and I'm only going to use one in this coming year. So let's see how they stack up and what they have, and maybe this will help you figure out what kind of planners you'd like for your next year. Okay, so let's take a look at this one first. This is the Hobonichi Techo. It is an A6 planner, and it runs for 37 bucks. Just the planner. Now you can get it for 40 some odd, I believe, with a planner and like a nice cover and all this other stuff. And there are a zillion covers out there. And if you want to get one of these, I would say get on pre-order lists fairly soon, because the cool covers seem to sell out pretty quickly. So this is a small book, as you can see. I got pretty big hands, but it's got the hobo up here. It says 2018 down here. So if you have like a bunch of these and stack them on your shelf, you can find the year, I guess, which is nice. It is all 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, which is very nice for fountain pens. It's a good clean paper. Oh, there's my birthday on September 10th, and I didn't write anything. So this is it's a pretty nice little planner. The cover is thicker than I thought it was going to be. Originally, when it said paper cover, I'm like, I don't know, this just seems like junk. It's actually been living in my Notco seed case all year, and it's done very well in there. There's, no damage at all. Of course, it's been in a case. But I've also seen other people who just take these and throw them in their bags, and sometimes you get like a corner bent or whatever, but I mean, like, also kind of who cares. I also have a friend online who has covered his entirely, like, it almost looks laminated. It's kind of cool. He covered it with just packing tape, I think is what he used, and it looked really nice. So what you have in this planner is, to begin with, you have the, let's go ahead and zoom in. You start out with sort of your typical, days and that sort of thing of the month, so you can go through and look quickly at what days you have in the next couple of months. And I don't know, you want to know what like day your birthday falls on. So for instance, mine next year falls on Tuesday. That's a boring day to have a birthday, I tell you what. Then you have these nice pages, which are I think for like habit tracking or something, which is a cool thing to do in a planner. You can see mine lasted 4 days. I was planning to track, what rings I closed on my Apple Watch for exercise and that kind of jazz. But I kind of didn't. And the reason I didn't, I'll get to in a little bit. But I think this would have been a cool thing to track. I just never did. And then you come to, at the end of those, has one for each month. There we go. And actually a couple of months into 2019, which is nice. So you can, make this last a little bit longer. This is the sort of monthly layout. And I think it looks pretty darn good as far as, just a short monthly layout goes. Because you have notes along this side you can put in. These are all pretty standard looking things, but it is good paper, and so you can use your fountain pens on it, and I did, and I also added a couple of stickers, because I've been looking at what people do in their Hobonichis, and I am kind of astounded by the artistic use of planners. And then I tried some washi tape, and I was like, oh, right on this washi tape. That didn't work out, but, what are you going to do? And then I stopped using it for that purpose. So it turns out that this is not going to be the planner for me, and that's because while I like this monthly layout, I don't really care for how they do the rest of the planner. Let me skip forward a bit. What I actually use this for is like my personal journal, because you end up with these full day pages, and that's just not the way I like to use a planner. I like to use a planner in the same way that the Jibun Techo is set up, and we'll see that in just a minute. But briefly, it's got sort of like stages of the moon or something up at the top. There is a good amount of English in this one, which is one of the reasons I got it. Even though when I opened it up, I knew this wasn't going to be the right one for me, because it's not how I look at my week, but it is really good for writing down your thoughts for a day, or telling yourself in a few years what happened on Friday, July the 13th. kind of nothing. I didn't write anything that day, but you know, I've written a bunch of other stuff in here. This is a fairly minimal planner as far as it goes. This is about as much. This is pretty much what you have in here. There's a couple of pages of dot grid at the back, some important contacts, some weird conversion tables and charts, highlights of the Japanese calendar. I'm not sure why all this is here. Maybe this sort of ran out of pages, but they need to have that many pages for days in the months. I don't know. It seems like some weird stuff in the back, but whatever. But there is plenty of room here to put down, like, I don't know, tape in some concert tickets or write some notes as I did or whatever. But as far as a weekly planner, it's not really working for me for work. Now you'll notice on the edge of these that there are these black bars, and those black bars are for each month. So those each month, that's how many pages it takes. Tomoe River, and you can tell actually the difference, I think, between this is the divider for roughly where today is. When you use them, they do sort of puff up and get a little bit, you know, more a little thicker. And then this is what's left, and these are very tightened together. So Tomoe River is really interesting that way. You can tell like a used notebook has character to it that you don't get from a lot of other notebooks because the paper is already thick enough. But this seems like it really kind of thickens up as you use it. I think that's kind of fun. The other thing you'll notice are these little orange tabs along the edge, at least probably. These orange tabs are ones that I have added. So let me find one here that doesn't have sensitive information on it. Not that any of these things are really sensitive. Yeah. So these are little pieces of washi tape that I've taken and put on the edges. And I've done that for the for each month. So that tells me where each month starts. So I can kind of, if I need to, go through and stop on a month. It's pretty easy to do. But there are no tabs or anything in this book. And that was actually a little bit annoying to me at first. I did buy this separately. This is like a little writing board thing. It has a today tab on the top, and I stick that in there wherever today is. And it also came with this sheet that tells you about the Hobonichi Techo planner and such. But this is a very nice sheet of blotter paper, it turns out. So I keep this in there with whatever the day is, and then that just goes in there and blots up extra ink because Tomoe River takes forever to dry. Okay, so that's the Tomoe River Hobonichi Techo. This is the Jibun Techo, and we're going to look at, we're going to look at most of this system, but not all of it, because frankly, I don't use all of it, and so not all of it's here. But the Jibun Techo comes as like a big set of things. You get 3 notebooks and a nice plastic cover. I was a little dubious about this plastic cover. It doesn't seem like it's all that tough, but this goes with me all over the place. Like every day this goes in my bag, or it gets used, or it gets opened, or flipped through, or whatever, and it shows pretty well zero wear. It's got a pocket here at the top. It's got a pocket in the back. It comes with this writing board that I actually never used. I really just use it. I put it in the back and use it to keep the whole notebook closed. So it comes with the diary, which we'll look at here in a bit. That's the planner bit. It also comes with the idea booklet, and this idea booklet is also Tomoe River. Same stuff that it's got in the notebook and all that jazz. I haven't used it much. It's a very nice grid graph notebook. I've only used a couple of pages of it, and so I took it out and I put it in my my traveler's notebook cover in the Franklin Christoph Vagabond. And this is kind of a tricky size, actually. It's the A5 Slim, which is just about the same size as a Midori Traveler's notebook, you know, the tall, skinny kind of thing, but like a little bit wider. It's an awkward size, honestly, and that's one of the drawbacks to this planner, I think. Whereas the Hobonichi with this A6 size format is easy to find covers for. There is a zillion of them. The A6, or rather A5 Slim, is kind of weird. But this idea booklet is very nice. You can buy packs of these from Jet Pens, that sort of thing. That's actually where I got both of these planners, by the way. And then it has a life notebook in it, which is done with Kokuyo's Mio paper, which is very nice. And I actually don't have it in here, and I'm not entirely sure where it is because it's not super useful for me. It's mostly in Japanese, as I remember. And it's meant to stay in your notebook and be used for years. It's got like notes for this year and other years. It looks like it's going for like 100 years worth of notes. And I don't use my planner that way, so I took it out. But the diary is the rest of this, and you can get the diary on Jet Pens by itself. for $31.50, which is, I think, a reasonable price for a planner for a year, especially one that's this nice. And it's all Tomoe River, same 52-gram Tomoe River as the other. When you open this guy up, there's a lot of Japanese in this one. This one is not really localized for the U.S. very much. I mean, you can see the months have like September and that sort of thing in them, and the numerals. But the rest of this, I mean, here's how you use this planner. Look at all these cool ideas. I have no idea what any of this says. I have tried to use Google Translate, and it does help a little bit, but whoa, right? So you can do a lot of stuff with this. I actually don't know what these suggestions are. So I wish that I read Japanese, but I don't. You have the couple of years laid out here, 2017 up through 2020, if you want to look at dates. So it's a little more inclusive than the Hobonichi, but it's also a lot bigger. They have more real estate. Going on forward, I'm actually not entirely sure what to use this page for. You can tell I went, huh? And never used it. I mean, look at all these. Look at these things. So it's every year across the top, or rather every month of the year across the top, and then days through the 31st down here, and then the day of the week for that month here. I don't know. This is a lot of stuff, and I don't know what to use it for, so I just didn't. There's an age chart. I have no idea what this is for. My Dream 2018. There's a lot of, frankly, for me, wasted space in here that they could have taken out. But I'm sure people use this stuff like Money Plan. I don't know what all this means, but I never use this, obviously. There's no plan here. A Japanese map, which is kind of cool, but also I didn't really need that. Favorite phrases, recommendations, which are fun. I kept meaning to use these things. Book lists. I kept meaning to keep a record of every book I read. And that did not last very long. I only put down like 3 books. I read a lot more books than that. I just forgot about it. A movie list. This would have been cool to keep track of. Gifts received, gifts given. These are all very thoughtful things to have in a planner that I completely spaced because last semester of school was pretty rough. And so I sort of forgot a lot of this stuff. Promise lists, like all kinds of cool stuff. And now this is the same kind of like habit tracker sort of thing that the Hobonichi had, but it's bigger, takes up more room. And I did use it for slightly longer. It made it almost to the end of January, and then I forgot all about it because, again, last semester was a bear, so spring was rough. I was tracking like, did I close my rings? Did I work out? Did I drink that day? Etc., etc. And I kind of gave up. I think that would have been cool. Oh, look, I picked it back up in March. A little bit, but not much. I kept forgetting about it. Maybe I'll pick it up again now. I don't know. Let's see. Let's take our tab here. You can watch me do this. Maybe you'll keep me on the straight and narrow here. It is September, so I'll put this little flag in there. Maybe I'll come back. All right. So there's those. Keep going. Oh, it goes into 2019 if you want to keep going. That's cool. And then here's what the monthly spread for the Jibun Techo looks like, and I think it looks pretty darn nice. This is a good monthly spread. It's bigger than the Hobonichi. The Hobonichi is just kind of too small for me. I wasn't using this in November of last year, so that's why there's nothing here. But, I mean, as it goes forward, I start adding more and more stuff. So, like, this is during last January. We had snow days. It tells me when Phil Club's, this philosophy club's coming up. Lunches, faculty talks, pen shows, pen clubs, birthdays, people giving talks, all kinds of stuff ends up in this front bit. And it comes with two ribbons so you can mark your current month. Then, as we go through, so this is this week? This is this week. I don't have that much in here yet because the week is only just starting, but this is sort of my pre-work for the week. So it gives you on these week at a glance, which is why I love this so much. I love this week at a glance. I think it's awesome. These are all like, the early hours of the day, and then they sort of spread out during the actual usable hours of the day that aren't like midnight through 5 a.m. And you can just use blocks. So like Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have this teaching block right in the middle, and then I schedule meetings around them. My birthday I put in there, and Hurricane Florence is coming through, and my buddy's birthday, and that kind of stuff. It gets more complicated depending on the week, and as the week goes through, I always add more stuff to it. So this has been extremely useful. Now, here's the thing about Tomoe River that I actually never really thought about, and that's that it doesn't really play well with gel pens. So there are some places where I've used gel pens, like, let's see, where are they? Some of them have bled through. I think it's in the monthly that I use that mostly. Yeah, so like here where it says UNCG Fall Begins, I used gel pen to write these, and it kind of bled through the Tomoe River in a way that fountain pen doesn't, which is too bad. So if you get a Tomoe River journal, you're pretty much limiting yourself to fountain pens, roller balls, that kind of stuff, but gel isn't so great for some reason. I don't remember what pen that was, but it's a strictly normal pen. There's nothing weird going on there. So this is the daily layout, and this is what I love. I love being able to open it up and say, all right, I've got a thing I got to do on Thursday, a thing on Tuesday. The weekends are a slightly different color, so that helps you figure out where they are, and it starts on Monday. So I'm a person that starts my week on Monday, so this is a great layout for me. Now, if you're used to that Sunday start, this might be a little bit of an adjustment, but for me, on a work week, this is great. Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff, and then it wraps up with this little guy right here. So the reason that I'm going to go with the Jibun Techo and not the Hobonichi Techo for this coming year is that while I like the journaling thing, I don't think I need to spend $40 on a journal that has, days in it. I could do this with any notebook that I'm going to use. So I will probably start another journal for this next year, but it's not going to be a hobo because, I mean, $37 for this little journal is actually kind of steep in my estimation. And if you're not using it on a daily basis and not using the features of the thing, it's too much for me. So I'm not gonna. But I will be getting another one of these Kokuyo Jibun Techos. You can find these on JetPens and probably other places, but JetPens is where I'm aware of them. And I love this planner, and I think it's perfect for me. Now, it is bigger than the Hobonichi, which is a plus for me. It's got the week at a glance. Actually, this is a Jibun blotting paper sheet. Fits perfectly in this A5 Slim. I do want to find a cooler cover for this, but it's not been really a necessity. This has lasted for a year, and it's got no signs of wear, so I think it'll be fine. Now, as to whether you should buy the whole beginner system or just get the diary, I'd say just get the diary form of this and then maybe the cover, unless you have an A5 Slim cover of some kind. But it's a really nice notebook. It's a really good planner. And so if you're a week at a glance sort of person like I am, and you like being able to block out time and that kind of stuff, it's great. Now, if you want to write a bunch of notes about a particular day, the Jibun Techo is not for you. As you saw, there was not that much room on any particular day. It allows you to block it out, but you got to know what you're doing. On these, there's a lot of room in each day. So if you want to write stuff that's going on, it does sort of give you a 12 right here in the middle. So if you want to do hourly stuff, this will let you do that, but it doesn't shackle you to it. So this gives you sort of more freedom, but it doesn't give me the view I want. And that's the problem with the Hobonichi for me. All right. So that's it. Those are my planner plans. And my planner plans are get more of this and skip Hobonichis this year. Let me know in the comments below what you use. I've used a bunch of other planners. I've got one from I've got some from what is it, Plum Paper, that I used to use all the time. They changed their paper a little bit, and I don't like it quite as much as I used to. And also, this is just smaller. It fits perfectly actually in the front pocket of my Rickshaw Zero Messenger, which is a huge plus. It fits in a lot of places. This is a good size, just like this one is. So let me know what you're using and what you've used in the past and what you like and all that kind of stuff. And could you take a side on the Kokuyo versus Hobo, and let me know what you're doing. I will see y'all later. Have a good week. If you're in Hurricane Florence's path, stay safe. Do not mess around with a Category 4 hurricane. It is not a joke. I will see y'all later. Peace out.